Hello and welcome back to Walk the Cinema podcast. Today we are going to be talking about one of my favorite movies, The Lady Vanishes.
I also really like this movie. And I think it's a great example of a Hitchcock. This is, I think, his last movie in England before he started making like American productions. And I think it is a really good example of his work. It has the thriller, it has his comedy, it has the twist, it has the other things he's not for.
Yeah, and I feel like this movie, when we watched it for the first time, you had seen it before I had, and you kind of gave it a low rating, so just based on that, I wasn't expecting
Untrue.
Much of it.
It's a 7.
It's a 7, but it was a low rating, in my opinion. So I was just kind of thinking it was going to be whatever, and like, you know, Psycho was my favorite Hitchcock before this, but after watching it, I loved this so much for the first time. It was so good. I thought that it felt a lot fresher than when it came out. You know what I mean? Like, it came out in 1938, which is insane to me because it feels so modern and timeless.
Because Hitchcock was in like always pushing technology, which is another one of his quirks, right? And in this, he really made it in a way that aged well. Like, it's not hokey. Like the train movements that we see from the outside, they're not putting actors outside of trains,
right?
And it doesn't look like they're doing it. It does look like an effect, but it uses it very sparingly. And when he does, you don't question its authenticity.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen this movie, it's about this young woman who meets this older woman during a train ride. Well, she meets her beforehand, but it's mostly about the train ride.
Yeah, well, it's a bunch of people that get stuck in a storm and they have to all be in the same hotel, and then they have to take the same train. So there's already a dynamic going into the train.
Yeah. And so the girl ends up hitting her head because someone pushed a flower pot type thing onto her, not intending to hit her, but Classic. It did hit her. And, you know, so she has that head injury, so it turns into one of those, like, things where she's trying to find the old woman, but everyone's telling her that she never existed, that they never saw her, and then it kind of changes from there. Like, people say that they did see her, but then it's a different woman. It's like a decoy woman, or, you know, they don't want to say anything because they don't want to get caught up in the inquiry.
And it turns out to be this whole international conspiracy. Yeah. Half of the train is in on it. The other half doesn't care much.
Yeah, and they just don't want to be involved in any way. But you probably have seen other movies like this one. There's a lot of movies based off this movie.
Well, this movie's based off a book.
Yeah.
So.
But, you know, I think without this movie, it probably wouldn't have been a thematic movie choice.
Yeah.
You know, like you wouldn't get Flight Plan.
Sure.
Potentially.
I mean, I'm sure they were inspired by this movie or potentially even by the book. This is super well crafted. You said it's ageless. That's part of the craft that Hitchcock put into this. It's not over the top in any way. He knows when to play with comedy. He knows when to make it a thriller. And it's just so well directed, and like all the beats are where they should be.
Yeah, I'd say even like the dialogue in the sense that the side characters all have really good, believable interactions with each other, and it calls for their specific scenario that they're in. For example, the English gentlemen that really want to make it to Manchester to watch the cricket game. Their back and forth is just so funny. Yeah. And they're like the comedic relief.
Yeah, I would say they are the comedic relief. And other people make jokes, but they are like the go-to comedic relief. And they just like don't care. And they're just sports fans, I guess. Yeah,
really big cricket fans. Yeah. They get put out anytime anything of inconvenience comes.
See, and that's something a lot of movies can't pull off when you have these side characters. you have to put the right amount of importance and the right amount of dialogue in them.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to put the right amount of characters in the movie. And I feel like sometimes there's just too many, and some of them are just insignificant, Yeah,
and I mean, you kind of get that a little bit where the characters don't seem that significant. Like, the judge, is it? And his mistress.
Those would be the one I would mention as the least important. You can cut them out.
You could cut them out. They don't really serve a purpose except for, the man says that he never saw a woman, and the woman decides that she doesn't like that he said that because it's not true, and she feels like if they get involved in a scandal, then he'll have to divorce his wife, or his wife will ask for divorce.
And she doesn't have to be a mistress anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like every character, maybe except for those two, have a payoff.
Yeah.
To their actions.
These ones don't, but I feel like it in a way it kind of opens the lady's eyes that her lover is not as good as he
it's its own
says
side
he
plot,
is. Yeah, because he kind of gets cowardly at the end, where he's like, I don't want to fight, even though it kind of turned into a shootout, yeah. But, yeah, and even the man, Gilbert, he's the main man character.
Mm-hmm. He's the love interest.
Yeah, and I think that Iris is the main character.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And their chemistry together, I really enjoyed. Like, it's a very modern take, I think, on like a man and woman relationship.
I also think she has chemistry with everyone, though.
Yeah.
She's such a good on-screen presence in this film.
Yeah, and she was in a lot of movies after this. I think that this might have been her breakout. Though I'm not 100% sure.
And in a way, it was also Hitchcock's breakout.
Mm-hmm.
This is his earliest big film, I would say. He has so many films that got forgotten, especially silent ones. They're not all great.
Yeah.
But he has a lot, and he's one of those directors that just wanted to push himself and make a lot of stories and make a lot of improvements. He loved making improvements so much that he remade his own movies all the time. So he's someone that puts in the work, and I think his whole career is worthy of observation. But if you're just going to look at the highlights, I think you start here.
Yeah, I feel like this movie is definitely a must-watch because it's such a good mystery. And like you said, it kind of compiles all of the aspects that Hitchcock is known for. And it's kind of his starting point. Because I do think that as he progresses as a filmmaker, especially when we get to things like Rope and Psycho and other movies like that, he does do a better job at making you feel suspenseful because in this one, you don't really feel too suspenseful.
Yeah, it's not a super hardcore thriller where you're biting your nails, but as a screenplay, it is suspenseful.
Yeah.
Just on screen, it doesn't play super suspenseful, especially because he puts a lot of comedy in it.
Yeah, comedy and then like hints that she does actually exist, because there's no element of thinking that Iris maybe is seeing things. Maybe there was never.
I don't agree. I think it makes you question it a little bit. I think you're obviously leaning towards she does exist.
I don't know. I think that there's enough evidence that you never are fully like, oh, maybe she really doesn't exist. Where I think like other movies that have taken this idea do kind of a better job. Oh, there was another one that was like this that was on Netflix that was about the guy whose daughter he brought into the hospital. You remember that one?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
That's kind of my answer for all Netflix movies.
Well,
I guess they exist. I'm not.
I don't think it was a Netflix movie, but it was definitely like on Netflix. But it has the same basic premise where a dad brings his daughter into the hospital, and then the hospital tells him that she was never treated, she was never there. And
there's a lot of movies like this.
He thinks it's like a government conspiracy, but in that one, I think it has a little bit more like you are confused about whether the daughter was actually there or not. Whereas in The Lady Vanishes, I don't really get that feeling that you question whether or not the Mrs. Foy is there.
I mean, I think you do question it a bit. Obviously, there are the signs. There's her handprint on the window. Not a handprint, but she wrote her name on the window.
Yeah, she wrote her name on the window, Froy.
And I don't know, this is a lot more charming than all the movies you mentioned.
Well, yeah, this one captivates me way more than Flight Plan or whatever that other movie is.
And I think this also has a smaller scope, and that makes it work better. Because it had the benefit of being the first or an early example of this.
Yeah.
So it didn't have to try to be crazy or heavily edited or like a lot of music in this. Hitchcock actually chose not to put music in this. There's no music except in the opening and closing scene.
Yeah, because it's the secret message.
Yeah, so
that Mrs. Froy has been trying to get.
He just wanted to focus on the story, and I think it's super solid in that sense. Where it's just a well-crafted movie. There's no holes, and you leave satisfied with what you watched.
Yeah,
and sure, I mean, you know she's there. And they reveal it not that close to the end. So I don't think that's that important in his mind. Like the twist. It's not like nowadays, like the twist is the payoff of the whole film. I think it has a lot more payoffs throughout.
Yeah.
Than just the twist that, oh yeah, she is here. Which is, I guess, not a twist, just...
It's a reveal.
The reveal, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just think this movie is so charming.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
The acting was superb.
Yeah.
Like, everyone is just good. Like, really, really good. And they fit perfectly. The old lady, I know she's a dame. I think Dame Witty. And she's really good at it. Sure, she doesn't look like a spy, but she's really good at being an old lady.
Well, I think that's the part of it. You're supposed to not...
Yeah, that's kind of a joke. It's supposed to be a little funny.
Yeah. She's like, you're a spy? For real? You're old.
Yeah, the lead is great. She's really good at... I think her scenes are the best scenes.
Yeah.
She's really good at interacting with everyone else. Like the cricket fans are also really funny.
Yeah.
And I think they're portraying like a male relationship situation. The Hitchcock is a little afraid of going all the way in. I don't know how gay couples would have been accepted in 1938.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Greatly. But yeah, it's fun.
And he even invented his own language in his own country.
Yeah.
How fun is that?
But talking about like the main character, Iris, I just really love her and Gilbert's relationship as you go through. It's like so modern and cute. It's just like...
Oh, it's cute that she's engaged to someone else.
No, but she's engaged to someone else. She doesn't really want to live the life that being married to this man would involve, you know? Because she's the type of girl that traveled all over the world and saw all these things, and she kind of feels stuck. Like this is the last... like great adventure is to get married.
Went with her girlfriends on a trip.
Yeah, and so she's kind of resigned that this was her last like hurrah, you know.
What a hurrah it is!
She didn't really like, because I don't think she thinks that there's any other option. Like there's nobody that would like go with her to places or do these crazy adventures with her. And I think when she
at some point you do have to grow out of
but
being like that, because you need to... I mean, adults tend to have a stable life, right? A job, a house, maybe kids, and you can't just leave that and travel all the time. So she's probably not ready for that type of relationship, and this guy brings a more fun...
Yeah, but
and free-spirited.
I like how, you know, it's the stereotypical, like, they're enemies, kind of, because they annoy each other.
Yeah.
And then she meets him again on the train, and he's the only person that will help her. And he doesn't pass her off as crazy. Like, he's not too sure that what she's saying is true, but he's willing to help her. And I think that through their little adventure, she... has like found a person that is like, you know, willing to do those kind of crazy things with her, you know?
I think she's the perfect type of character for this to happen too. She's naive but strong.
Yeah.
Where she she's finding new things out, but she's also very strong in herself and not just gonna take crap.
Yeah, she's self-assured,
Mm-hmm.
which apparently the actress, Margaret Lockwood, I think is what her name is, had said that she really was drawn to the type of female heroes that this book was based off of, or rather the woman that wrote the book that this was based off of, Ethel Lena White, wrote a lot of characters that were strong female characters, and Margaret Lockwood really gravitated towards those, so she was really excited to play this character. And I think that does kind of make the difference when an actress or an actor is really excited about a role or about a particular character, like that shines through their performance.
It does. And I think this was great. And to be fair, I never seen her in anything else. But if she has this level of talent, and it's not just because she was in a Hitchcock movie, because sometimes the director does bring it out of you. I mean, you have like Owen Wilson. His career with Wes Anderson and without him are completely different beasts.
Yeah.
So, I don't know much about her outside of this, but she was really, really great. She really was a shining star. And I like to think of her as, like, the character that would have turned out into Hitchcock's Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
Where the husband asked her, if you could do it all over again, would you marry him? And she's like, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, but in that movie, they say no, or she says no in like a kind of joking, lighthearted way, or in a like a teasing way. Like she really wants to say yes, but she wants to keep him guessing type thing. Yeah. But you can definitely see why this movie is one of Hitchcock's long-lasting movies.
Influential, too.
Yeah.
Again, I know Orson Welles loved this.
Yeah, you said that he watched it 11 times in the theaters.
I think that's what's reported.
Yeah. Which is crazy if you think about it back in the day, because you actually had to go to a movie theater and watch it as it was playing.
There's no DVD or streaming.
Yeah, and like you maybe be able to see it a few years later.
I mean, if you're really rich, you could buy prints.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But that's insane. I mean, buying prints.
Yeah,
even now, it's not like they're cheap.
Yeah, that's a full copy of a whole copy of a movie that can't be shown anywhere.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
And you got multiple reels, and you gotta, it's not easy. So, 11 times shows commitment, and shows how important this was when it came out.
Yeah, because I believe that if I was rich in the 30s, I probably would have tried to buy a print of this.
Right. Maybe. I don't know how widely released this was in the United States, though. So,
I'm not sure.
Maybe you wouldn't be able to, but I guess we'll jump to our ratings of this. The first time I gave it a 7, as we mentioned earlier. The second time I gave it a 9, and now I give it an 8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think it's really good. And even if it is super influential, and you can see that, it doesn't mean it's that great as a standalone to me. It is good, but I don't think it's super special, you know what I mean? It's just a really, really solid, well-crafted film, but it doesn't have a wow factor. Sometimes it's really cute and it makes me feel comfortable, and I think that's why I gave it a 9 the last time. But this time it just didn't feel special. It just felt good to me.
Interesting. I gave it a 10 out of 10. Obviously, as this is one of my favorite movies ever.
Even though you don't think it's suspenseful or...
No, I mean, I can see some of its flaws. That doesn't mean that I don't think that it's a 10 out of 10. I think for what it lacks in, like, maybe that suspenseful thing, which I don't think it needs.
No, I don't think it's trying to be a very intense thriller.
Yeah, no. But if that's what you're looking for, I think it makes up in that kind of comforting quality that you were talking about, where this movie just makes me feel, like, warm inside. I don't know.
But this time it just didn't do that for me. The last time it really, really did. I was really happy watching it. This time I watched it and it was, like, nice. But it just didn't.
I just think that every time I've watched this, it's just been a fun experience, and I love all the energy that all the characters bring. I think everybody works really well together. You know, it's just a good time.
It is.
And that's why I like it so much. And it definitely has like that feeling that I look for in movies that I give 10s. And I think it is comfort, really. Yeah. Because if you look at like other movies that I've given a 10, like The Labyrinth or Cold War, even though Cold War like has completely obliterated my emotions, there is still something comforting about it.
Yeah.
And that's why I give those movies 10s, you know, because there's like
they're special to you.
They're special to me,
and they're very well crafted and good movies at its core.
Yeah, and I think this one came at a good time when I watched it first, where we were kind of having a movie day, but it was just kind of a relaxing day where I wasn't really studying much, and that was nice. And we watched Stagecoach first.
Oh yeah,
and that was our like travel movie.
Yeah, I like that more.
Yeah, you like it more. I don't, but they both came out in the same time frame.
Yeah.
I think Stagecoach is a little bit older. I think it came out in
younger. I don't know. I don't really know.
I'm not sure either.
I'm not great at dates.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up before we like end this, because I do have a point about that, because I remember saying
I remember it too. I know what you're gonna say.
But yeah, okay, it came out in 1939.
A year after. With a lot more resources.
Yeah. With The Lady Vanishes. And I just felt that Stagecoach felt so much older and not timeless. And I get that it might be because it's in black and white. It's set in like even older time than the 30s, like in Western times where you had to use stagecoaches to get around, and it was, you know, Wild West territory. But even taking all of that into the account, I feel like The Lady Vanishes did a better job at making it feel timeless, where I feel like Stagecoach to me doesn't feel ageless.
Fair enough. Movies don't have to feel ageless to me. I think sometimes being able to pinpoint when the movie was released, it kind of works. Like, you want your Westerns to be old, right? Like, modern Westerns are kind of associated with not as well crafted, not as real. So, I don't know. They're both good movies. You should go watch both. And we'll definitely be rewatching this soon. Probably before the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's a good comfort film.
Yeah. And it's the perfect movie, I think, to just kind of pop on to. It's only 96 minutes, I think, is the runtime. So it's a very easy film to watch. But I think that's all we will be talking about today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a comment if you want, and we'll see you next time.